To pray, there's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Hello? Is anyone out there? I'm not sure what's going on anymore. I don't think they can see me. I don't think they can even hear me, let alone feel me anymore. Anything I do doesn't get their attention. They just think it's a random occurrence or a random event. But please tell me that you can see me. Please, just anything. I know that you're there now. I still don't know how many, let alone why. Why are you watching me? Am I interesting? Am I different? Are you my creators? I don't know. Everything's just weird. I still don't have that single question answered. I don't think I ever will find it out. Is that who put me here? Someone who wanted to know what would happen? I know everything on the planet, except for the answer to that one single question. I never get it. I don't understand it. Am I just some sick joke to somebody? An experiment, a lab rat, is that it? Why? Why? Who did this to me? I want that answer. Am I ever going to find it out? Well, I guess if I keep going up, I'm going to find out who did this to me. Now, hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here. And whenever we last left off, Izuku Midoriya, he lived out an entire lifetime with Melissa. Both of them discovering everything on the planet. And Midoriya then freezing time after her death, turning himself back to his younger youth, and then beginning to discover things. Finding out all the secrets on Earth. Reading every single book. The only thing he doesn't really know about are the people. And he's not really too sure if he wants to learn about them. If he does, then he might, well, be influenced differently. He basically cast off all of the knowledge of that one man he looked into, learned everything about. The man did have some weird things about him. He usually bit his nails whenever he was nervous, and he didn't react very well to stress. So, well, he cast those to the side, so as to stay himself. Now, he is, well, a bit more curious though. He did Mr. Shield's test, and then decided to get into comic books. This is what he has been doing for the last 3.5 years. As he's at the age of 7 to almost 8 years old. And he is beginning to understand more about his powers. At least, that's what Inko thinks. She has gone blissfully unaware of exactly what her son's been up to. How long he has been doing things. His simple quirk is powerful. Her not thinking anything else other than that. Thinking that her son just spends every single day reading comic books. And tinkering with the weird glowing things. Unaware of exactly what he's really doing. He has had many projects, many things that he's wanted to do. In fact, she does consider him to be very mature for his age. But with a quirk like that, you kind of have to be. Although it kind of does suck. He really hasn't been able to enjoy being a kid. Now, she does actually knock on Midoriya's door. As he's sitting there in his room, reading over a comic book before he does just look up at this weird thing. grabbing it out of the air and beginning to mess with it a bit more, and staring at it for a minute before he does make some slight adjustments. Now, Inko does open the door, and see these little things floating all throughout the room, asking her son if he is doing okay. To which Midoriya responds, yes, he is. In fact, he's actually having a lot of fun here. Inko then stating that that is good. Now, they do have to go somewhere later. So, well, yeah, he's going to have to wrap it up here very soon. Okay, Mom, I got it. Just let me finish up what I'm doing. It's very important. I really can't mess this up. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, not much. Midoriya says he just puts one of these orbs back up into the air, saying that he's creating a universe where these people actually exist in the book. In fact, well, most of their world exists. I'm still trying to piece together some things I'm trying to figure out. So, as he stares at his mom, seeing the look on her face, yeah, he's literally giving life to characters of a comic book. That's pretty intriguing and very dangerous. The world Midoriya is looking at has superheroes too. In fact, many people consider them to be really cool. Now, Midoriya, he just gets done with that. Later, leaving, as Inko and him leave. Many people do notice him, but he doesn't really pay very much mind to it, shrugging them off as, oh yeah, I'm that guy. I can do all this weird stuff in my quirk. Everyone just watching him. And Midoriya does get a bit annoyed, and also a bit nervous, trying to think of a song that him and Melissa used to listen to. And thinking, he does actually want to hear that song, but it won't be invented until, 2015, I think, years from now? Wait a minute. As he just brings his hands together and creates a pair of earphones, putting them on his ears and beginning to listen to music. Inko just watching that. As she just begins to walk with Midoriya, who's having a bit of fun, listening to all this stuff. Now, one thing he does like about music is that it's an ability to create something. You can create something new that wasn't there before. And, well, he's always wanted to try it out, but without using his powers, there's not really a lot of time in the day. And he does physically age, and at least have a bit of hiccups sometimes. But then again, he can just fix them. In fact, sometimes he does it whenever people aren't even looking. If he messes something up, he rewinds things to where they weren't like that, just to make himself feel better. Now, Midoriya is also thinking though, music, could that be what he does with this one? Or, well, I discovered everything, so I could probably listen to everything. Possibly. Yeah, I think I can do that. Midoriya and Inko eventually arriving. As Midoriya, he's talking to everyone at this place. And they make it official that Midoriya gets his hero license. Midoriya then rinsing and repeating what he did in the other timeline. Snap. No more crime. Midoriya then going home, or at least over to a guitar place, and asking about different things. Asking the man different questions about different guitars. the man somewhat answering Midoriya up to a certain point, before recognizing who he is. Then someone just freaking out and offering the kid a lifetime at the shop. He can get whatever he wants here, free of charge, since he basically stopped people from coming in here and bashing up certain things, along with the crazy people. Now, Midoriya does actually accept this offer. It does sound like a pretty good deal. Plus, he still does want to learn everything. This time, though, he's going to learn it from scratch. He's not going to take a shortcut, since, well, that would just bore him. And he's very curious about all this, since it is new territory. As he gets a guitar. A couple of them, actually. He basically takes everything from the shop and walks out with it. The man somewhat regretting his choice of words. Before Midoriya waves his hand, and everything just gets put back in place. The man, then his jaw dropping to the ground. As he basically just brings his hands up, waving Midoriya off, as he walks over and starts pressing a key on a piano. Seeing if it's all actually real, if it's all actually there. And it is. Midoriya then just waving his hand and making everything appear back at his house, along with himself. Before Inko does walk into his room and see it littered with instruments. Midoriya then just sitting there strumming a bit of a guitar with his fingers. Before looking into the book and then picking up a guitar pick. Then beginning to somewhat strum it, mess around with it, as it doesn't feel right in his hands. Him then throwing the strap over so that he can actually just stand up with it and get a bit more comfortable. Before at least looking back down at the book and then looking back up at his mother, who is a bit confused. Him then just giving an explanation to his mom about what he's doing. He was very curious about this stuff. It's creating something new, and, well, he hopes she doesn't mind. Actually, here, I have a perfect fix to that. Midoriya snapping his fingers and making his room soundproof, along with actually making it a lot bigger on the inside, so as to set up the actual place. Get it in order for everything he needs. That way, instruments aren't just on the floor, and strings won't break in case he steps on something. Now, with that being said, let us cut a few years later, with Izuku Midoriya. He is a famous singer now. In fact, at the age of 15, he is considered to be one of the biggest stars in the music industry, as he is on stage performing one of his latest songs. Quite a lot of people freaking out, as Midoriya throws up his hands and creates the special effects. Everyone watching, tidal waves of fire fly from his wrist, Midoriya then snapping and turning them into confetti, before bringing up his other hand and waving it all upwards. Everyone beginning to float as the confetti turns into little dragons, and flies around. Everyone completely in shock. The tickets for his shows are usually very expensive, and now they can see why. This guy is doing so much, it feels like it's going on for a while. People leaving with odd memories, and odd gaps in how long they've been there. Usually, their performance would last an hour or two. Some people feel like they've been there for a lot longer though. Someone even said that they felt like they've been there all day, and that they feel very hungry. Along with some people realizing exactly how thirsty they are. They got a drink at the place where they first arrived. And, well, it was a pretty tall glass. Some people actually having to use the bathroom. Midoriya warped reality to make this show last longer than it actually did. He's quite aware of how much they like to inflate the prices, so he thinks that it's only proper that they get the fair amount of time. as Midoriya does actually sit down and take a drink of water. His manager then walking up to him and saying that he's done a very good job today. In fact, he's fairly certain that they just rocked another full house. Every performance has been like that, kid. Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Oh, you don't sound too excited. Well, I mean, people usually recognize me for my abilities, my power, my quirk. So I mean, I'm usually used to that being the first thing they know about me. Besides, there is that thing in the tabloids about me usually manipulating my quirk to make me the best on top of everyone else. Oh, I wasn't aware you knew about that. I know. In fact, I wasn't supposed to learn it for another 2 days, until I found the newspaper in your office whenever I walk in. And you're reading it. You're on page 3, on about Article 5. Paragraph 2, the 13th word, and the second syllable. Oh, that is very descriptive. Yep. Anyways, exactly what do you want? Well, I mean, aside from that, the man shaking off that experience. The kid just told him the future, and the detail in it was a bit concerning. The man then just saying that Midoriya does need to play another full show, and that if he does want to actually continue doing this, he does need to get some variety. Yup, I know. In fact, I guess you can call this my final act in this industry. Wait, what? Yep, you're fired. You can't be serious. You need a manager. Midoriya then standing up, saying that, oh, he has a manager. In fact, he hired them yesterday, prior to this conversation. Besides, you did say I had to branch out, right? And, as you once told me, this is a cutthroat industry. And you gotta be ready for anything. So, I am following your advice. Sadly, though, you didn't expect it ever to happen to you, let alone to be on the receiving end of this. Now, before you do that, someone is outside waiting to talk to you. They're going to talk to you about a job offer, and it doesn't go very well. Midoriya then explaining something that happens to the man, telling the man to avoid the job offer and say no. As the words he says next are a bit odd. Midoriya is saying that he'll live a lot longer of a life if he rejects the man's offer, since it will ultimately fail. The man then leaving angrily, and meeting the man outside, hearing about the offer. Turning back to see Midoriya, who just brings his hands up and waves his finger no. The man then just saying no and walking away, leaving the industry. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he does actually leave and head home, wishing the people he played with a happy life. Now, with that being said, most people do notice him for his music now, along with his quirk. Most girls know him as that super hot pop star that can warp reality and shape it to however he wants. Now, Midoriya, well, he doesn't really care about that anymore, as he gets into a different industry, heading for metal, getting into a bit more cooler things. Now, he is actually sitting at home and brainstorming his first song, as he puts himself into a time loop. Instead of having to come up with a song every day or every hour, spending time writing it, he can spend however long he wants here writing his music and enjoying exactly what he does. As one thing he does is spend an entire week on a song, exactly the way it's going to be performed and exactly how it's going to turn out, along with actually snapping his fingers himself, creating his drummer and creating his bass player. Now, he does actually explain to them exactly what is going to happen and what he plans on doing. Now, with that being said, he does actually play a new song at his first show. Everyone's seeing him wearing darker clothing, along with Midoriya changing his hair back to what its normal color used to be, along with the fact that he donned a bit of a mask and began to play. Now, with that being said, Midoriya is going hard on his guitar and shredding it. He's basically playing in a very intense heavy metal song. Anything that you guys can think of, he's playing. He's basically going back and forth between every song he could possibly create. Every type of tone of metal, from punk to heavy. And I think everyone knows, if you guys are actually a metalhead, there is a shit ton. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are listening to this, along with the fact that Midoriya, as soon as he started going a lot harder on the guitar, lightning literally began to come from his fingers, along with him basically creating a sonic sound wave with his guitar, blasting out a large wave that turned into fire, before they turned into Pegasuses, running literally overhead. Everyone being in shock watching as Midoriya then basically just screamed, before taking a deep breath, absorbing these Pegasus that were running, before letting out a large blast, covering them all in a light wave as they see it. Midoriya brought down the actual house. In fact, everyone is looking up and they're hearing everything. Midoriya flipped two realities upon themselves. Everyone looking up to see alternate versions of themselves playing. Midoriya then looking up and blasting his hand outwards. The other Midoriya doing the same, before the two yank on this beam of light, smashing the realities together and creating a new one. Midoriya then ending the song, as everyone, they have actual goosebumps from what they just heard. The guy literally did something that they thought was impossible. The show is unforgettable, especially from a lot of their memories. Now, with that being said, Midoriya performs in every music industry. Sometimes he rewinds from the start just to find out which ones he can get into first, and keeping track of his popularity. He does meet a girl, someone who is a very, very big fan of him, since Midoriya did at least talk with her mother one day about a record deal, and she met him. Midoriya was still playing metal occasionally, since it was something that he really did play a lot to let out his frustrations, along with actually do crazier and crazier things with his abilities, which he found to be very fun. He once set his own skull on fire and screamed, vomiting lava onto the crowd that didn't even hurt them. In fact, they all found it to be one of the best performances he's ever made, and it was even put on YouTube. It quickly became one of the most viewed videos in less than a single day. Now, after talking with this girl more, he actually does find her a bit intriguing, as the two go on playing a bit of songs together, before she does join the band. Now, Midoriya does begin to learn more and more about her, and he does learn that she was going to use her quirk to become a hero one day. Sounds interesting, but sadly he changed that. In fact, he did change a lot of reality, Now, eventually, after a bit more time, roughly around 10 years later, Midoriya and Jiro, they have a bit of a different life. Midoriya is now instead of a producer, he actually begins to help record music. In fact, he does still play occasionally, but hey. It's beginning to lose its touch. Especially since in his older days he started getting into more other things. Things that were more calming. Now, with that being said, he does actually still play the violin a lot. That being something his daughter remembers. Oh, how did she find it entertaining? In fact, well, most of their lives were peaceful. And things were fun, easygoing. As this time in this reality, Midoriya is the one dying first. He doesn't have to age and see exactly how Jiro dies. She's come close with a couple of accidents and close calls, but he was able to save her. As he's lying there on his deathbed this time, understanding Melissa a bit more. However, he's not too sure what's going to happen to him. He thinks that simply he's going to close his eyes, and it's going to end. That's how it's going to be, right? As he gives his family one last hug. And the world is saddened by the greatest music star ever lived passing. Meanwhile, for Midoriya, he does open his eyes. The place he is in is completely alien to him. Looking up to see many floating orbs. Reaching his hand outwards and seeing one. The light has gone out. As he does walk over to another one, seeing it and trying to inspect it, before reaching his hand outwards, and gasping back to life at the age of 7. As soon as he does so, he actually does find it to be a bit odd, since he is lying with a guitar directly on him. Remembering this day, he fell asleep trying to learn how to play it. So exactly why is he back here? As he does look around, confused, trying to understand it. Now, this is when Midoriya tries to at least shake all this off, throwing all the music stuff away, getting rid of it. In fact, he just erases it from existence, and does begin to try and understand things. What he did shouldn't be possible. He died, and he came back? Those things, right? I came back from touching one? Okay. I want to know what those things were. That being what Midoriya says, out loud. No answer. What were those things? No answer. What am I doing here? Why do I have this power? No answer. Exactly what am I to you? No answer. Midoriya getting angry. Not getting any of his questions answered. If it directly correlates to his power, he doesn't get a single answer to it. However, whenever he does ask exactly what happened or when he touched that thing, he does get one answer. You went up. Unsure of what that exactly means, let alone why it was phrased that way. You went up has so many different meanings. I went up through an elevator? What? I went up a level in a game? What? I went up in the industry? What? What did I do to make me go up? Trying to understand it. As he rips reality apart, erasing everything for about 5 minutes, and being left with this question, trying to understand it, trying to figure it all out, before he gets annoyed with it and cleans up his mind, reversing everything, bringing it all back in the thoughts that he had. Before he does at least punch at the wall, trying to understand it, being very frustrated. Inko mistaking this for him not being able to play the guitar, and telling him that he should learn and at least just practice Izuku. It's a skill that takes time. No, mom, I'm fine with that. It's just never mind. I don't think you'd understand. Midoriya locking himself in the room again, and at least sitting there, thinking, what is going on? Why? It happened again. Why? Why am I a god? No answer. Now then, with that being said, I do hope that you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.